The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the participants and do not reflect the views of Bronxnet or the program underwriters.
Bronxnet. Your voice, your views, your vision. Hey, welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, Dr. Bob Lee. Just in time for summer, our next guest has arrived to share some secrets from her latest work. 30 days to a thin, new you. Please welcome back to the show our resident nutritionist, Fiorella DeCarla. We welcome you. You always have some very exciting and interesting tips for us.
Thank you.
And, to get our wonderful people in shape.
Put ourselves together. The summer's here. The summer's here, so we have to, pull ourselves together.
Yeah, so what do we do?
Okay,
We're going to talk about the book, but
yes.
Give us some tips on how to start, because a lot of people don't know how to start. They just go at it and just go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't, if you haven't done it in a long time, you just can't go crazy right off the bat.
Right. You have to take it slow. But one of the ideas and the concepts in the book is the fact that, the diet mentality sometimes hinders you rather than helps you.
Yeah.
And what happens is you get into this cycle of, I need to be on a diet, I need to lose weight, I need to deprive myself of this, and this, and then you don't, handle the diet properly, then you fall off the wagon, and you start all over again, and you feel guilty, and you just overeat. So the idea,
you get wrapped up in that New York schedule. Oh, I got it. And sometimes it just throws you off.
Yeah, and you just don't have time. So the best thing to do is
going.
and you should really just kind of change your viewpoint about the way you perceive food. And food should not be something that you go to for emotional reasons, but you should look at it as nourishing, as a medicinal value of the food for the vitamins and the nutrients. So the first thing I would say is, and I always say this when I come here, you really need to reduce the amount of refined carbohydrates in your diet. I mean, you really don't need it. Americans do not need the amount of refined carbohydrates in their diet. They're not expending enough energy to take in that much calorie.
And that doesn't mean stop eating a lot of the things that you like.
Right.
But just everything in moderation.
In moderation, smaller
just
portions.
Say, Thursday or Friday, I'm going to go for that special dish that I like.
Right. Exactly. And if you are having carbohydrates, the best thing you need to do is you need to take in whole grains versus the white carbohydrates. And that will help you because it'll increase your nutrient intake and it'll make you feel fuller for longer, because the other white carbohydrates will just keep you more hungry and, dip in your energy levels. So it really doesn't help. So first and foremost, try to eliminate as much as possible.
White carbohydrate.
Yes.
Such as,
well, first of all, refined sugars and processed food. A lot of people drink their calories. They drink tons of juices and sodas a day, and if you add up all those calories, it takes in most of the calories you need in a day. The other thing I would say, the tip number 2, would be to add lean protein to every meal. So now lean protein will keep you full for longer. It increases muscle mass, and it doesn't, and a lot of it doesn't have a lot of fat in it too. It's also the way you cook your food too. But if you add it at every meal, and when I say lean protein, it doesn't mean just meat or chicken. It also includes dairy products, low-fat dairy, low-fat yogurt. Just if you could include it at every meal, that will really get your metabolism moving.
You didn't tell me you were working on a new book.
Well, it's a little secret. It's a little secret, yeah.
30 days to a thin, new you.
Yes. So all of these tips are in there. One of the others is to add, and my favorite word is fiber. You want to also add that at every meal.
Yeah.
If you do about 5 to 10 grams of fiber per meal, I think that would be perfect for you, because
you won't get stuck.
Right, you won't get stuck. You won't get stuck.
Constipated.
Right, and you feel very full. For you can hold off for your next meal, so there's not a lot of snacking in between. And also, fiber means fruits and vegetables, and that means a lot of more vitamins and nutrients and everything else. So I would say 5 to 10 grams of fiber per meal. Aim for that.
What's the most thing that people ask you about? in trying to stay healthy, or just maybe one of your
I think
fantastic tips?
I think that people they get a little obsessed with counting calories. How many calories do I need? How much do I need to take in? And most often, there's a lot of misinformation out there. If you read the nutrition labels of food, it says, well, these are the amounts of calories in this particular box of whatever, and based on 2,500 calorie diet. Now, 2,500 calorie diet, who really needs that? Most people need a lot less than that, so they're getting miscommunication and misinformation from, sources where they should normally trust. So things like that. But I would like to promote not counting so many calories, but just looking at food as a whole.
So leave the scale alone.
Leave the scale alone. Don't get obsessed with it, because if you do, you just feel guilty and you just feel terrible. And particularly for women who eat emotionally a lot. They go to food for comfort, and they're looking at the scale. And, throughout the month, they have different, water weight issue, depend just because biologically. Exactly, and that has nothing to do with actual weight that you've gained. It's just water weight. But people freak out, and they overeat sometimes to compensate. It's very interesting the way they react to it.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is that people don't realize it's not just, the amount of food that you eat. Like, for example, one of the things in the book that I write about is increasing your sleep and decreasing the amount of alcohol you take, which kind of go hand in hand.
Good idea.
Because what happens with alcohol, it's not just the extra calories that you take in from the fruity drinks like pina coladas and, apple martinis and things with extra calories. It's the actual ethanol in the alcohol itself that disrupts your metabolism. So what it does, it doesn't allow your liver to function properly. So instead of metabolizing the nutrients, the fat, the carbohydrates, and your stomach too, what it does, it puts everything on hold so that the liver can metabolize the alcohol first.
Yeah. So if you just drink maybe one drink, or this is somebody who drinks maybe every day, or
right, every day. Because if you do it every day and to excess, and it's summertime, people like to go out and people like to have their drink, but you do have to understand that there is added calories, and it does impede on the metabolism of all the other nutrients too. So it does. And then what does it do? Alcohol, we know, makes you sleepy at first, and then it keeps you up at night, disrupts your sleeping patterns. And then what happens with disrupted sleeping patterns? Your hormones go out of whack, and your metabolism is off again, and you overeat. So it's this cycle.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this is all from alcohol. It just disrupts everything. Right?
Yeah. And again, I'm not saying completely take it off the table, but, let's go in moderation, I would say.
A glass of wine here.
Yeah.
Some Jack Daniels on the rocks every night.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what are you doing? You look great. You jumping jacks, the whole nine exercise?
I was just going to say something about jumping jacks. You read my mind.
Yeah.
Well, this is what it is. Well, this one, I want to say, people get turned off by exercise because they feel like they have to be like an hour in the gym, and really that's not necessary. I like to promote like 20-minute spurts of exercise. And this is a thing that everyone could do. Forget the gym. Forget spending money on memberships. Gyms are going to hate me now. But what you can do is take the 20 minutes out of your day and run really, really fast for a minute, walk for 30 seconds, do 50 jumping jacks, and do that for 20 minutes, and you're done. Because it's short circuit, it's plyometric, which means that you're jumping and you're using your entire body and it's toning all at once. And you're doing it in 20 minutes. Who can't do 20 minutes? Do it on your lunch break. Do it in the morning. Do it in the evening.
You mean to tell me I just can't watch the NBA finals and just think about jumping and everything? And
watch it and jump.
Can it be in my mind? I want to jump just like him.
You're going to have to get up. You have to get up. That's the thing. You have to get up. Yeah, get up and do it. But it's only 20 minutes. More than that, you can't have any excuses after that for just 20 minutes. So
takes it. And how about walking?
Walking is great. Any opportunity you have for walk, okay? You live in Manhattan or the Bronx or anywhere in New York City, you can count the blocks. 20 blocks is...
One.
Yeah,
1 mile.
Exactly. And that's 20 minutes. And if so you want to run, jog it, it's perfect. Get out 2 stops before you have to get off to your stop from work and walk the rest of the time. You do that twice a day, you'll see a difference.
And you will be able to get into a bikini and bathing suit.
Yes. You'll do it. It'll happen.
What about, we spoke about foods, we
Yes.
spoke about exercising.
Yes.
We spoke about sleeping, which
Yes,
is
very
very
important.
important. A lot of
Yes.
people don't get enough sleep.
Yes.
But if you put all those things together, you can really make it happen for you.
Yeah, it's a whole...
And it takes a little time,
It
too.
takes time, and just like everything else, schedule it. You schedule, your busy lifestyles and everything. Schedule that too. Schedule your workout time, 20 minutes here and there.
Schedule you.
Put it in your planner. You know, keep track of everything, you know, and look at food again. Look at it as medicinal.
Yes.
To nourish your body rather than going through it to comfort you.
Right. But, well, and a lot of people also eat for taste.
Yes.
Instead of nutrition.
Right. Right. Well, you know, some people are also, their taste buds are kind of geared towards salty, creamy, and crunchy, you know, so they, and fat. But the thing is that healthy food can give you all those things too. You know, you can get the crunch, you can get the saltiness, you can get the creaminess from healthy foods. You just need to, and in my book, you'll have different types of recipes for, you know, things that you can do and change, tweak a little here and there, so that you don't have to eliminate the things that you love, but you can just alter them a bit so they're more healthy for you.
Wait a minute, you have a little cookbook in here too? Let me find out.
Some recipes, yeah. Yeah, so it's kind of all in there. So, you know, it'll help you out if you just, you know, and also for eating out and dining out, so you don't have to ruin your, you know, your eating habits when you go out.
And plus, you know, you want to stay in a lot of times. You save money.
You do save money.
Go out every now and then.
Really?
Everything in moderation.
Yeah, exactly. Everything in moderation. Money,
so
calories.
we can get this book where?
You can go to Amazon.com. It's an ebook. You can download it right away. And, you know, it offers you great tips. And please, you know, anyone can offer me feedback if there's something specific that they would like to know about that I can address in the future. That would be great, too.
There you go.
You can follow me on Twitter on Fit with Fiorella. Also, daily nutrition tips, you know, straight to your phone or straight to your email. You know where to find me.
Let's do some jumping jacks.
Okay.
Fit with Fiorella. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, be sure to pick up a book, copy of the book, 30 days. 30 days, say it, 30 days. To a thin new you. To a thin new you. 30 days to a thin new you. You can get it on Amazon.com or download it. You know, you download it to your Kindle also. Yes, all right.
Sir, are you okay?
Everything's fine. Thanks.
You wouldn't ignore this, so why ignore the signs of a stroke? Call 911 immediately, because time lost is brain lost.
Our very first guest was the first woman ever to serve as chaplain for the New York City Police Department. She provided help to police officers and worked with Muslim leaders after 9/11. She's also the first female senior pastor in the history of the American Baptist churches, but she made bigger headlines because she recently was sworn in as President Obama's Ambassador for Religious and International Freedom, a position where she is the first female and African American to hold the post. And we're honored that she joins us now on set to talk about her appointment and what exactly her plans are during this time and at this position. We're pleased to be joined by Ambassador Dr. Susan Johnson Cook, and we welcome you to Open. Good to have you.
Thank you. Good to be back home.
Yes.
Back in the Bronx.
Back in the Bronx. Well, tell us, you are now the appointee. You're on your way. What does it feel like?
Oh my gosh. First, it feels wonderful, you know, but to have Bronx and Harlem roots has been great. Harlem, the village of Harlem gave me a send-off, and last week Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz called me. So to come back home at this time is just a wonderful experience. This is my 7th day on the job, so, you know, it's hot off the press. But it's a wonderful, wonderful beginning. You know, you think about what it feels like. You think about your roots and your parents and how far they came from the rural South. And then now I'm the beneficiary of so much that they did. So that's a wonderful experience. But just to be able to walk in, you know, the State House, State Department and the White House and just work with the first African-American president and the Secretary of State, who was our senator, Secretary Clinton, is awesome because it's two of my favorite people who are just brilliant leaders. And so, you know, you go from a local to a national to now a global platform. And so to be prepared for this moment is a wonderful feeling.
What's it going to feel like? Because next week you are going to have a swearing in. Hillary Rodham Clinton, you know, she'll be swearing you in. You've worked for the Clinton administration before. What's it like, first of all, to have that swearing in, and then of all people to have, you know, Secretary of State Clinton actually swear you in?
Well, I'm just so fond of her leadership and, you know, what she's done. I mean, it's different. I worked for the Clinton administration when President Clinton was president and on the Domestic Policy Council. But as I see it, it was preparation for this moment because that was the entree really to having a relationship with the Clinton family and with understanding government at this level. And so to go in as a senior official now and to be on the same floor with Secretary Clinton, you know, my office is what they call the front office. It's just such an honor because you look back over the last 30 professional years. I had 3 decades here as a pastor in the Bronx and in Manhattan. You look over the government work, you look over the time at Harvard and all the international travel that that happened from college through this point, and you kind of say this is what it was leading up to. So the moment is one of those aha moments that this, or kairos moments as they say, this is the time that I've been prepared for. People, as I was being vetted and going through the nomination process, I had to have 2 hearings, Senate confirmation hearings. I had to be confirmed, and it was tough, but it also introduced me to another world, and you have to know the world that you're going into, and so the time that was necessary prepared me for this moment. So it feels great. It feels like I'm ready.
And it was a long process because 2 years?
Almost 2 years. June 20th was when I got my first call of 2009. But the process, is what it is, and you have to understand it. You have to learn it. And those are players that I'm going to be sitting with: the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, all of Congress, sitting before the House Foreign Relations Committee, and we have our own Congressman Crowley from the Bronx who's on that. So I'm going to have to interact with those players and those actors. So it's important to know how to prepare to go before them, but what's most important now is, now that I am confirmed, how to work with them after this. And so this particular position is International Religious Freedom Ambassador at Large, and it was created by Congress in 1998 and was signed by President Clinton. So here we come full circle now. I come into this position. This is the 3rd ambassadorship. There have been 2 prior to myself, one under President Clinton's administration, one under President Bush's administration, George W., and now I'm under President Obama's administration. So it's an awesome experience, and every decade was getting me closer to this moment. Everything that I went through, both the trials and the triumphs, really toughens you. I used to start out my speeches saying, forget Margaret Thatcher. I mean, they called her the Iron Lady. That's what I am now, because you get toughened by the process and you get your strength. You have to go into your inner wells and those reservoirs of faith and of strength that my parents and that Bronx and all the communities prepared me for, so that when I walked in the front door the first day, I said, I'm ready.
Talk to us about the mandate. What is the mandate going into office?
Well, the mandate is the Ambassador at Large for International Religious Freedom. At large means that I live in Washington and I go all over the world. So I go to various countries where there are religious freedom issues. I'm the principal advisor to the President and the Secretary of State on the issues of religious freedom. So each year there's a religious freedom report that's issued to Congress and to the President about 198 countries, how they're handling religious freedom, or whether they're dealing with religious persecution and how they're dealing with that. And then using all the tools that are available to me. So diplomacy, public diplomacy, issuing this report, and really getting religious freedom on the map. When I go to another country, when I go globally, then the embassies that are there, the U.S. embassies, receive me as the ambassador, and they will set my itinerary up, and I will meet with government officials, NGOs, non-governmental organizations, civil society, faith leaders. And so the advantage is that I've lived in so many worlds. I've been in the political world, I've been a faith leader,